Hey guys, JoeFan82 here, and this is part 1 of my review for the G.I. Joe 50th Anniversary Silent Strike box set. Now, as you can see, this is a big box. Let's take a closer look at the packaging to see what's inside. You've got the orange Hiss tank, the Stealth Skystriker, and 4 figures: Ace, Sightline, the Hiss tank gunner, and the Hiss tank driver. If we turn it around and take a look at the back of the packaging, you can see the G.I. Joe 50th logo. You've got on the top Lady J, Flint, Snake Eyes, Leatherneck, Hawk, Beachhead. At the top in the text it says, "For over 50 years, G.I. Joe action figures have fired our imaginations with dangerous missions and exciting adventures as the G.I. Joe team battles Cobra villains." Then it has 3 more languages underneath. Then we can look at the pictures. You can see there's the orange Hiss tank with the 2 figures, the Stealth Skystriker with those 2 figures. For part 1, I'll be taking a look at the Stealth Skystriker and Ace and Sightline. So here is the Skystriker out of the box with all the stickers applied, the stickers that I wanted to anyway. I went with the silver decals instead of the dark gray. I've seen some comments that the dark gray didn't show up as well as the silver, so that's why I chose that. And I think the stickers really pop off of the dark gray, and it looks really good. So let's take a closer look. As you can see, we've got the red canopy here, the nose of the plane with the 112. I'm not sure what the significance of the 112 is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. Let's look at the side view. And it does come with the short-range air-to-air missiles, mid-range missiles, and long-range missiles, and the big bomb on the bottom. I went with the G.I. Joe logo here. The other options are the Arashikage symbol, or a couple other ones, but I went with the silver G.I. Joe logo. See, all these decals here are really paint to put on, but after they're there, I mean, they really give it that much more realistic feel. And let's go to the top, starting at the front here. Red canopy, you can kind of see through. And the plastic is kind of shiny there. I don't own another Skystriker to compare, but I read that this is a little bit shinier than the traditional Skystriker, the light gray one. And all of the no step stickers here. And the Wolf logo, Wolf Team logo. Oops. These missiles tend to fall off if you're not holding it the right way. Let me just pop that back on. So if you're unfamiliar with the Skystriker, it has a knob right here, and it has 2 decals that show you when it's up here, it's in flight mode, the wings are enclosed. When you pull it down, you can see the decal, the wings are open. That, and the landing gear pops down. I'm going to do it again so you can see just like that. We can take a look at the bottom so you can see. There are also a few decals on the bottom. This giant bomb here. Open up the cockpit. The cockpit is a little looser than I would have liked. If you do it too hard, it just pops right off. I mean, it's not that big a deal. You know, once it's in there and it's closed, it's fine. It's just when you're opening and closing it, it's a little on the loose side. Oops. And this one back fin keeps popping off. There we go. And we can take a look inside the cockpit there. Nice details molded in. Like this is for the ejection seat that worked on the original Skystriker, but not in this one. There is no ejection. He's going down with the plane. Speaking of Ace, so you can see, let's pop him in here. Does he fit? Will he fit in Skystriker? There we go. You got to push him down a little bit more. There. Perfect fit. I mean, this is a great looking plane. If you don't know about the Skystriker, this is the iconic G.I. Joe jet fighter. This version is a darker gray stealth version that they've never released before. Last year, 2015. Oh, I forgot, it's got these two panels here. Open up one on each side here and then over here. They just pop right back on. But yeah, it looks really cool, awesome for display purposes. If you've got kids, they'll probably love it if they're into jets or G.I. Joes in general, for that matter. It's got the stabilization wings there, the no step. The exhaust in the back here, these pop out, not too easily, but these do come out. If you can see this, it's got some decals there. Nice detail. I mean, you know, they didn't have to put like details like this on here. They could have just had this part molded onto the body of the plane and that would have been fine, but you know, they added that little extra thing there. Now, apart from what I said about the canopy, and then on mine, this back fin tends to pop off a little easily. Other than that, this is a great vehicle, great jet. I highly recommend it if you're a G.I. Joe fan, G.I. Joe collector. And since we've got it out and open, we've checked the modern Ace figure. Let's go ahead and check a vintage figure. Okay, so modern Ace fit perfect, and I've got a 1992 Gung Ho here. Let's go ahead and put him in. And as I expected, he fits fine. Usually have a problem going the other way around, trying to get modern figures into vintage vehicles, but putting vintage figures into the newer vehicles usually isn't a problem. So he fits perfect. And there you go. So if you've got a vintage collection and you want to add a modern Stealth Skystriker, if you've got a USS flag and you want to put this on, this would look great, fits with your vintage figures. So let's take a closer look at the modern figures that came with this jet. Okay, here we have the Ace figure. He's got a great sculpt. I really like the paint apps on his face. Really nice. Sometimes especially with the 50th anniversary, we've seen some paint apps that weren't so great, but this one is really good. Eyes are sharp. He's got a great looking flight suit on. He's got the gray and red detailing to match the Skystriker. And I have on him right now, I have this what looks to be like his parachute, which can come off pretty easily there. Set that aside. And he comes with, as we saw before, the red and silver helmet, which slides on very easily and looks pretty cool. He also comes with a pistol. Let me focus here. If you can see the detail on that pistol, which goes in this little holster on his ankle, or the bottom of his leg. He also came with this silver gun, and of course the figure stand with the gold 50th anniversary G.I. Joe logo, Ace. And let's take a look at his articulation. His head does a full 360 and does a nice little look up. You can look up a little bit. His arms can come out, twist around like that. He's got elbow 90 degrees. His wrists can do a 360. And let's see where. I think that's it for the wrist. The wrist doesn't have any other articulation there. And on his, forgot to mention on his bicep there, he's got the modern G.I. Joe logo. He's got the chest pivot there. Standard leg articulation, which is hampered by his straps here. I think this is for his parachute, but he's got double jointed knees, and his ankles can do a 360. they're also they've got that little joint there. They can move a little bit. But overall, a really nice sculpt, a really nice looking figure. I remember from the vintage line, a lot of the figures got short shafted with as far as detail and articulation. They just weren't as good. But this figure, he's a driver, a pilot, and I mean, this guy could have become carded by himself. I mean, he's excellent figure. I really like this one. And the second figure is Sightline. And you probably know that his file card lists his name as Gary Goggles, who passed away last year, 2015. And Gary Goggles is a real person that passed away, and he was a very prominent person in the fan community for G.I. Joe. And Hasbro honored his memory by naming this figure after him. And even has some goggles there, red goggles. And this figure is pretty good too. He's got a gray urban camo uniform on. A lot of really nice detail on this. Yeah, focus here. I mean, look at all these little pouches, all this little detail. For a figure this size is really nice. He's got the logo there, the star, gold star. The back looks like a knife sheath there. Actually, that can hold the knife that came with the figure, or it should be able to. That should slide in. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you just have to angle it the right way, but I got it in there. So that slides in pretty nicely. It's not coming out unless you take it out. It's not falling off at all. So just a lot of great detail there. None of his legs, knee pads. He's got a holster here with the very tiny pistol, which has the possibility of getting lost pretty easily. I mean, this is a very small gun. And let's take a look at the articulation. His head does a full 360, a little bit of up and down movement. Oh, and he's got this vest on that can come off. You know, as you can see right here, you can take it off. I don't like taking these off because they can be a pain sometimes to get back on, and I just prefer leaving them on. His arms have the standard articulation. He's got some orange pads there underneath the biceps. His elbows do a full 360, 90 degrees. His wrists can do a full 360. This one looks like it might supposed to have a little joint there, but the molded jacket is kind of impeding any movement on that side. This one, the wrist can move up a little bit like that. So you got some movement on the left hand. Can move at the waist. Standard leg articulation. split, double jointed knees. Now this figure does have this new rolling ankle joint that I'm not a big fan of at all. But on this figure, it's not that bad because the bottom of the pants leg is molded onto the shoe, onto his boot there. And so the joint is tighter than some of the other figures with the same articulation point, so it's not sliding all over like some of those. So if I move it, it's more likely to stay in that position than otherwise. So but they do, as you can see here, there's a joint right there at the top of the foot that it can move like that. This one doesn't move as much, left side. And let's take a look at some of his accessories here. He comes with a laptop computer, a shovel for digging himself out of sticky situations, a tiny cell phone. This looks like it sticks on to something somewhere, not sure where. It's got a little post there coming out of the back. It goes on here. Not sure where that goes, but it goes somewhere. And this rifle with some very nice detail. See the wraps around the barrel. It's silver, sort of a light silver. All of these accessories pretty much are. The gun's a little bit lighter. I'm not sure how realistic that is. I feel like maybe it should be a black or a very dark gray, but I'm not sure. And of course, the stand, gold G.I. Joe 50th anniversary logo. Sightline. Let's take a look at the file cards for Sightline, codename Sightline, anti-aircraft support, file name Gary Goggles, primary military specialty anti-aircraft weapons, secondary specialty infantry, birthplace Chicago, Illinois, which I believe is where Gary Head. His last name is Head. Sorry, Goggles was his sort of nickname. His real name is Gary Head, and I believe he was born in Chicago. His description says, Sightline grew up working in the family's trash hauling business, imagining that the trucks were tanks and the enemy lurked in every dumpster. After serving in military air defense, he joined the G.I. Joe team, where he defends his team's air division with an arsenal of anti-aircraft weapons. When Cobra Hiss tanks attack the team's munitions depot, Sightline advances on the ground to mark the targets so that Brad Ace Armbruster can blast them from the air in the team's G.I. Joe Skystriker jet. And the 50th logo there. Let's take a look at Ace's file card. G.I. Joe Pilot, codename Brad Ace Armbruster, file name Brad J. Armbruster, primary military specialty pilot, secondary specialty intelligence operations, birthplace Providence, Rhode Island. His description says, Brad Ace Armbruster would rather fly than do anything else. He did movie stunt flying and was an instructor in the Air Force Pilot Combat Training School before joining the G.I. Joe team. He's at home in the cockpit of any plane and has a knack for getting the most out of them. When Cobra Hiss tanks attack the team's munitions depot, Armbruster blasts the enemy from the cockpit of the G.I. Joe Skystriker jet. So there you go. I like his little profile picture there. It's got a little attitude going on. They're looking at each other like, yeah, we got this. That's it for part 1 of the G.I. Joe Silent Striker review. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, and I'll see you next time.